everybody, welcome to my channel for new battle report. I had the occasion and the pleasure to play a first game against the new ONG book, which is probably going to be the first and last one on the channel until ETC, since maybe some of you heard the news that ETC voted against using the new ONG book for the upcoming ETC, which I personally find a bit sad. I understand why, but still the fact that the 9th Age team offered the possibility of a hotfix before ETC for Orc and Goblin or before list submission, in my opinion, could have been enough to allow the book to be played at ETC and to gather more experience. But I think most people maybe had some bad memories of what happened with Vermin Swarm in the past. Maybe that's something I have in mind. I'm not sure if I'm completely accurate. Nevertheless, so I'm going to play against them more after ETC, I guess, after we have finally finished with the old book. So let's go. I played against Baos, who is the captain of the team Oten Bash that we played against at WTC a couple of weeks ago. He's a very good French player, so quite excited to play against him and see what he's going to bring to the table. My list was the following. I made a couple of adjustments. After WTC, I brought back my old core, which is 8 Bruisers, 5 Tigers, 2x3 Tribesmen. That's the core that convinced me the most. I decided to switch back to the Great Khan build and the Magic build that I've been trying already at the beginning of the year, which is Adept Pyro with a lot of stuff, and the Apprentice Shamanism with the book. I think that's the combination that pleased me the most, because as you can see, for less than 600 points, I have 2 combat mages, or at least mages that can fight, that are not too expensive, so if they die, it's not the end of the world. I have good amount of buff spell, good amount of damage spell, so I think what they bring out to the table for the points is not bad. Definitely I don't have access to the best spell, Thaumaturgy spells, and I lose Break Spirit and Totemic, but overall I feel it brings a decent range damage magic phase with a couple of Pyro Blast, a potentially double Fireball plus 2d6 strength 4, which is always helpful for my list, because most of the time I'm looking at more tools against shooty list. So I think here I bring everything I need in Magic with these 2 mages. And I brought back the tank version of the Great Khan, which is defensively really, really strong. And he's just very versatile, can fight plenty of stuff. It's going to be useful in any combat that I bring him, no matter in which block he is going to be. Then I didn't change the monster setup. I kept the shooty Merc with the shooty BSB. And I decided to try out again the Merc. It's funny, I had a chat about that with a Polish friend at the WTC. It was quite interesting to see what he thought about my list, and he gave me the input. I would just replace, if I were you, I would just replace the Tusker by Merc since they became so cheap, which I think is a good point. That's something that I thought about before. If you remember, I participated at a Swiss team bootcamp with a Merc unit, but just the setup that I chose was not the right one. I brought Lethal Strike, Plate Armor, Iron Fist, and I think only a unit of 6 or 7, so definitely not 8, and definitely not with Swift Stride and Albert. So I really like this idea of Swift Stride and Albert. And then myself, I decided to switch the magical resistance. Basically, I gave away the magical resistance of the shooty Merc to them, and then the BSB has 2 Ether Icon. This way I can protect my 14 Merc with MR2, which I think is kind of nice. I really like the aesthetic of the list. The 3 blocks have exactly the same amount of points. It's funny to see that Bruiser unit is the same price for the same amount of models than the Merc that have Swift Stride as well. That they have no standard, but they have magical resistance instead, and they just have so better stats. I mean, agility 3, 4 attack each, weapon skill 4. So it's funny to compare both, but one is out of core, but it just show how cheap have become Merc since the update. and definitely they are kind of attractive. Obviously, it's a test. Not sure I'm going to keep that way. What I liked about the Tuskers is basically they can march forward 14 and mostly the charge range. They charge with 8 Swift Ride. They bring something else with Toughness 5, which is really good with the possibility to have triple -1 to wounds. So we will see. We will see. If I miss the Tuskers, I can always switch and maybe change as well the magical setup if I need to, but that's what I tried for this game. Baus was playing the following list. He picked 2 Witch Doctors, 1 Adeptomat, 1 Pyro, with Rod of Battle and Book, so 6 spell between them. He has Hereditary on the Great Green Idol, so 7 spell. He has a BSB with Discipline Banner, another Binding Scroll, so he has 2 Binding. 3 Demagogue, they were the old Gnasher mount, I guess, that's how they're called. So they can charge far away, they have a 3-up arm save, and they have like 3 attack strength 6 on the charge each, plus 4 attack strength 5, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely kind of scary. He had the Goga Brew on a Demagogue, which brings him unstable 1 time. He has 8 Initiate, that all of them, you can see here the effect, they all go into the Goblin Rabble unit with Poison Attack and Spear. So it's a Goblin Death Star, basically, with a lot of tools in the unit, plenty of character that can challenge, that can bring some strength 6 hate with attack, so really nice. He brought a single unit of Orcs, which is a block of 40 Feral Orcs, with the totem that makes them always having, considering that another Orc unit is engaged in combat, which basically makes them +1 attack, which is nice. And I think the price is quite kind of attractive, 415 for 40 Feral Orcs. With the banner, it's definitely not bad at all. Then he has a small unit with Discipline. He has a unit of 8 Reavers, the Great Green Idol, 2 Behemoth. He decided to pick Frenzy and Impact Hit and 4-up armor save. I wasn't sure about the Frenzy aspect. I think it's not so good because it's the type of monster that you want to move around in the flank. And Frenzy can be a big downside. So I'm not sure this is the best option, but he wanted to try that out to basically maximize what he can do in close combat. The ambushing Gogtuk Neophyte, which are really interesting with the throwing weapon poison, and then the 2 Git launcher. I think that's one of the main motivation behind picking the Darmu option. Is basically that you can get 2 Git launcher, which is really good. I mean, 2d6 strength 4 AP2 is great. Or if you get partial hit, you get a Mad Git in front of the opponent's unit. I mean, it's really awesome, and it's one of the things that scare me the most in his list. We randomly picked the secondary objective. We play All the Ground and Counter Trust, and below you have the spell selection. I decided to pick basically Double Fireball and the Double Fireball plus the Swarm of Insect to basically be able to threaten his War Machine, and the rest is just combat buff basically. So I think this combo of high, they've basically the range of the 3 spell is really nice to try to kill those War Machine as soon as possible. And then I have the Chilling, which is also good against them. And on the right we have his spell selection. All the Ground Counter Trust, so starting is definitely going to be an advantage. Damage output of the War Machine is a key factor in this matchup. I think there is a variance around that. If he can start and kill some Mercvets quickly in the first 2-3 turns, it could be annoying. So definitely I'm going to try to minimize that if I don't start. And if I start, try to kill them as soon as possible. Minimize turn 1 shooting if I don't start, like I usually try to do. Leadership could be an issue for him between the 3 Frenzy units. The Panic Check, he has only Leadership 8, could be a weakness. Frenzy Bait could definitely open the game. Thinking about here the Feral unit. Chaff-wise, I'm superior. I have 3 mobile units that should help me winning secondary. I felt also my block are superior. I have superior close combat power in the focus part of the map. So between the chaffs, the 3 chaff that I have available in comparison to his 1, and my basically the damage output that I can bring with my unit, I felt positive about the matchup. Deployment. I won the roll for side. Unfortunately, no, it's not that bad. Gave him the impossible in the middle, and obviously he started, which is good on Counter Trust All the Ground, obviously. So he placed his Feral Orc in the middle, facing the secondary. My first drop was the dog unit here on the right to basically push back his strong flank. I felt this is kind of important to push him back. After what, he deployed like a war machine in the back. So I decided to then go with the giant on the left. I felt the giant could play around all these pieces of terrain, especially the hill. Could be very annoying for him. And at the same time, he's pushing him back also on the left. So basically, I push him back on the 2 flanks, which is the best I could do. Then he put something else, and I dropped like Tribesman in the middle, and then he dropped for first turn. So his deployment, he put the 3 Gnasher character on the left. Sorry, I don't know all the names yet. So here you have the Feral, the 2 war machines, the Mage Bunker, basically. Here on the right, you have his Goblin Death Star with all the small characters, the Light Cav, his Great Green Idol, and the 2 Spiders, so the 2 Behemoths on the right. And when I saw that, you need to keep in mind, I deployed the Giant, Tribesman here, and Dogs here. So what I felt is, he put all these monsters together so far away on the right. I felt if I deploy Focus on the left, basically monster march 1 turn here, 2 turn here, 3 turn, so they could be up to 3 turn touching nothing. Which I felt is more than enough time for me to establish a good control of the center and try to do some range damage, get rid of the chaff and establish board control, basically. So this is what I did. Then the second thing that I thought about, and I think here the deployment is the most important part of this game, like it usually is, I looked at a way to minimize all his turn 1 shooting on my Mergvets. And I found a spot here for units of Mergvets on the left, where only 1 war machine, only this one can shoot me. The other one doesn't see me. So I found here the spot is really interesting in a way that I could potentially push forward. I must say, while I deploy this unit here on the left, I didn't realize yet how dangerous those guys are on the charge. Maybe I would have considered the things slightly differently, I don't know. Here I found a way to hide behind the Frost Mammoth, the 6 shooty Mergvets, and I put the BSB here, and there is no war machine that can see me. So my deployment is a bit odd. I'm not looking forward, I'm not zoning something here on the right, but at the same time minimizing those expensive wounds of Mergvets against his shooting, I felt is too good to not do, basically. And then the Frosty can just move away, and then I can start to push forward. And there is only the Death Star exposed, but I have enough bodies in the unit to be okay about that. So I wasn't too worried about that. And then I just place my second Tribesman in the unit. So as you can see, I have all my scoring unit around the middle. Obviously the dogs are a bit the, how can I say, the casualties of my game plan, because now they are exposed, they are alone, they're going to flee, die at some point. That's the downside. But I felt the advantage of getting this focus here on the middle left is just too good. It's just too good to not do. And really facing him here on the right, there is no purpose to do that. So let him be out of the game as long as possible. And then we will see when he comes closer what I'm going to do. But I felt this is definitely a good counter deployment. So we'll see how that goes. His turn 1, he pushes the monster, but still was careful about my option of the Mergvets moving forward and getting some shots, also maybe frenzy baiting, so he kept his spiders close to the board edge, push a bit the idol, push the goblin, those guys stayed behind the wall, and the rest didn't move much. He places his 3 Gnasher character here on the left out of line of sight of the giant and out of charge range of those guys. So he's going to try to be annoying here, and the chaff, yeah, that's the downside of my position here. The chaff can be here out of the Frosty, not chargeable by anything, and in an aggressive position try to shoot at my dogs, which I knew this could happen. It's not too bad, to be honest. Magic Vase, he get 2d6 strength 4 on my dogs. I let that go because I think they are not so likely to survive to his shooting and so on, so I felt let's let that go. He did 4 wounds to my dog, I fled. Which is not too bad. Then the Catapult, he got a hit with the Git Launcher on my bruisers, did a total of 5 wounds, and the other one, which is this one, got a misfire 1, so he's not going to shoot the rest of the game. This is already a turning point in the game, because only 1 Git Launcher left is huge, is definitely huge. My turn 1, so I pushed the Death Star forward, but now I realize that those guys are more dangerous than what I thought. So I cannot really push the Mergvets, and I felt this is not worth the risk to push them. He gets so many attacks before me, not really worth it, while I could just threaten him with the giant and try to basically trap him. So the idea of the giant is basically to be here. He cannot escape my line of sight if he failed the march check. I think he's on leadership 7. If he failed that one, I'm going to charge him, and it's going to be a terror check, so I could potentially get rid of the problem and then push hard with the Merc Vets, which I felt it's worth it to play safe, be patient with them, while I get rid of those guys with the giant, or at least push them back. So we'll see. I gave him no room to exit line of sight here. This was also one of the purpose of the placement of the Merc Vets. There is no way those guys can escape here, somewhere here, which could be really annoying for me. Right side to middle. So here, as you can see, I push the Death Star plus Tribesman close to the middle, so I'm already within 6. Try to establish some board control. I'm not sure he's going to push facing my bruisers that are quite scary for him, especially with 3 times -1 to wound. He will be wounding on 5 up, getting so many impacts and stuff. Could be really dangerous. I have a breast weapon, so he's not sure to survive to that, and then I chaff in game. Turn around the shooting Merc Vets to get rid of his chaff, and put also the Frosty here on the left. I rally those guys on the 5 rollable, which is nice. So we'll see. I could have placed them better with the rally reform. We'll see after why. And yeah, that's it. Magic phase, got a bounce spell, fireball on the war machine, did nothing. But the attribute, the blaze, did 1 wound to the cavalry here. Then I got a chilling hole on the catapult to minimize what he might do. And then I got another fireball on the catapult, and he dispelled Swarm of Insect. The second fireball did 3 wounds this time on the catapult, so only 2 left. Really, really nice job. And with the second blaze, I kill another cavalry, which makes him panic. On the 8 rollable, he failed that panic check and flees away from the shaman. Jump here. Yeah, the pyro shaman is here. So he fled all the way here behind in the forest. So already, yeah, huge. I mean, only kill with 2 blaze, 2 cavalry, panic check, goodbye. So this is huge. His turn 2, he decided to charge with Spider here. Was like a 10. I felt here the better reform, because here he could charge, try to overrun off the board. I don't see him, I need to turn around, he's close to me and so on. So I felt that this reform could have been better to angle him more towards me, or do something a bit better than that, I felt. I decided to flee, because I consider if he push with all 3 monsters, I will be really happy that he just failed charge a couple of inch forward, so he loses like a turn of movement in exchange of the rest of the dogs, which is not too bad. So I just fled off the board. He failed charge. He pushes the 2 other monsters, one slightly on the hill, the other one being the idol, push 12. He pushed the block here. He didn't rally the cavalry, which is huge as well. 8 rollable, fail again off the board. Huge. Those guys didn't move. And here, yeah, those guys are not on the board. He passes the march check on 7 or 6. I don't know how much he has base, but passes the march check, I think, on a 7, and plays that way to keep zoning me. By the way, I was a bit surprised that you could do with individual model that are not light troop, since they are individual models, so like A, B, C, you could just move one here, the other one here, and you just form a new unit, meaning you can basically, it's like a workaround to be light troop while you are not light troop. I found that not so intuitive, a bit stupid to be honest. But that's how it works according to rules. So that surprised me a bit, but he was able to do that. So no charges for the giant, it's just out of range. Let's move on. Did I talk about magic? No, not yet. So magic, he got 2d6 strength 4 and did 2 wounds to my tribesman. The catapult did 1 wound onto the bruisers. Yeah, chilling hole helps. And shooting, he did another. Yeah, the ambushing unit ended up uppering the board here and shot at my bruisers and did 4 wounds. Not bad. 20 poison shot, 4 wounds. My turn 2. So as you can see, my bruisers are quite kind of depleted now, but still have full Merc Vets, which is, I think, the most important. And as you can see, his catapult misfires and loses a wound, I guess. Yeah, it's only 1 left, so there is hope. If I kill that one this turn, then this is the rest of the game should be much more manageable, or at least there is less variance that he might just eye roll on one of my unit. So I move. What did I do? As you can see, I'm now able, since I push them back, I'm able to push more with the Merc Vets, but still keeping a long range charge with the Wag. I'm not too in a rush. I mean, I have a good line of sight in the middle. If he pushes too much here or too much here, I will be able to charge him no matter what with those guys. I'm still zoning him, he cannot exit my line of sight. The giant is still pushing him further away, but only giving him double 6 charges, so maybe 11 on the giant, and that's it. So I felt this is totally okay. Here I move out with the Pyro Shaman to... What did I want to do? To be out of line of sight? Yeah, I couldn't. The downside was I couldn't see the War Machine, but the War Machine couldn't see me as well, and I could breast weapon them. And if I breast weapon them, they are likely to panic. So I felt this is nice. Turn around the Merc to shoot the Idol, the Frosty, yeah, just forming a solid battle line to guard the middle, and I'm going to score a first point of all the ground. In the magic phase, he Binding Scroll, Swarm of Insect, Dispel a first Fireball, 2 dice against 2 against his small guys, and the second Fireball with 3 dice against his 3, he dispels it as well. I got Chilling Hole on the War Machine, just in case. And then Breast Weapon, I killed 6 and was caught off guard by the new mechanic. He fled voluntarily, meaning he ended up here and he can automatically rally, which is nice. So I forgot about that. Shooting, yeah, the poison did 6 wounds to the Idol, which is a very good start. His turn 3 pushes the Idol to chaff me, moves the 2 Behemoth on the hill to threaten me. Other than that, yeah, those guys rally automatically. Here moves slightly back. Pushes a bit more forward with the Goblin. So basically I'm chaffed here. This unit, there is not so many left, so I'm not so dangerous for him, and this one is just too far. So yeah, I think it was the right move. He kept distracting, and that was it. Magic Phase, I dispel Breast Weapon with 5 dice against 3. Didn't want the Breast Weapon on the Idol to do wounds on my Mercvets. Then he did 2d6 strength 4 on my Trispan here. Did 3 wounds, I passed the panic, I had 4 wounds left, and then he did Big Hand of Heaven, killed the 4 remaining wounds, which is annoying because it's chaff piece, scoring 1, that was useful for the rest of the game, but he just kills it. And then the second War Machine, with only 1 wound left, decided to misfire and can shoot the rest of the game, so I don't need to cast any more spell on it. Definitely unfortunate for my opponent. My turn. Yeah. I chaff his big goblin block, took the time to readjust my battle line, put back the mage in the unit, reposition my Mercvets to look at the middle, to push them back, turn around those guys to shoot at the Idol. Yeah, just basically managing one monster after the other while not exposing to easy charges or just making his life more difficult. And then I'm hoping to be able to counter push later, but I don't have so many chaff left, as you can see. The giant kept just zoning himself. He was able to zone everything, so that was enough for me. Now the Mercvets can look towards the middle. In the magic phase, I got 2 fireballs, kill 5 orcs. He dispelled the swarm. And then shooting, I killed the 2 remaining wounds, so I killed the Idol. His turn 4, moved those guys a bit forward, but they didn't pass March, decided to hide the behemoths, moved them back, so basically his game is more or less ended. He lost the momentum, there is not much he can do now. Move those guys slightly back, keeping just zoning me. Those guys here just going to shoot me in magic. And he passed Frenzy, obviously, that was also... one key moment. Frenzy bait him here, it's 8 maximize. If he failed that one, you see what happens. I mean, it's charge in the flank. Then I can get plenty of good opportunities of charges, just destroying those guys, getting some nice overrun and stuff. So I was really excited about that, but it just passes the Frenzy. Yes. Yeah. And what did he get into magic? He gets a breast weapon on one guy here, get another hot Hand of Heaven, did 4 wounds, and then with the breast weapon, strength 4, he rolled crazy hit and destroyed this unit. And this is also huge because now I have no chaff option left, meaning I cannot push. So he cannot push, but I can't too, because just getting long charges is hard into a unit that is unstable with a good counter charge. So I really hope for this unit to survive, to be able to chaff and push and do something, which now I can't really do. So my turn 4, just keeping tight space here to not allow the Neophyte to move in between to chaff me. Rearrange the character here, forming a new Death Star, and basically the 5 remaining bruisers are still within 6 to contest the middle, so it's still 1 up. If he charges me, I can easily fled to safety and then counter charge with something much more scary, reposition the giant, and that's it. In the magic phase, I decided, yeah, the Frosty looks forward in case he moved far or he does something surprisingly, I could still do something interesting instead of looking at those guys, but we can debate about it. Magic Phase, Swamp Insect, kill 4 Goblin, Fireball Dispel, Fireball Fail, Shooting, kill some Goblins. Yeah, just reduce a bit their number in case they want to move forward. He's turn 5, just moves back, rearranged the stuff, kept the Behemoth behind the hill, has enough. Dispel Pyro Flow, Hand of Heaven did 1 wound to the bruises, try to get those points. Shooting did another 3 wounds to my bruises, my turn 5. Just kept being in the middle, so I'm going to win it. He moves slightly back, so it's 2-0, that's the end. The Giant comes here to get those points, which I'm going to get towards the end of the game, and that's basically it, because with the Warg he can just turn around, move Light Troop, turn around again, just move away, and I have no good way to push. I thought about turn 5, can I push the bruises all the way here to chaff him and push the rest, but then there is no way I'm going to kill all those unstable guys with all these characters in the front, forcing me to attack at them with the characters. There is no way I can crumble everybody in just one combat phase on my turn 6. So I felt this is just giving away 600 points of bruises for free, which didn't happen. Ended up being a 14-6. I killed Great Green Idol, 1 Git Launcher. Yeah, half of the Git. No, I finished the Git Launcher with the Magic Phase. Goblin Cavalry that fled off the board, and the Gok took the ambushing guy. He killed my Tigers, the 2x3 tribesmen, which is a 14-6. Post-game analysis. So I felt, yeah, quite happy about the way I was able to minimize his turn 1 shooting. Definitely, I felt he could have avoided that by deploying his War Machine more to the right. Could have had better angle, I felt. His monster were too far from action and all together in an area that I could easily defend with my Poison Mercenaries. So I was so far away that he had so much ground to cover until he reaches me. And then until he comes, I can just shoot, kill, and then there is no way he can push me. I think he should have at least put 1 Behemoth on the left to support his characters. I think that would have been much better and much harder for me to manage. And probably the Idol more in the center, or I think it was just too far with those monsters. Moving all the way around, they weren't able to achieve anything. Chaff dying meant no one of us was able to push, as you can see here. I mean, yeah, his misfire was a key factor, and the second one was the fact that his Chaff panicked, didn't rally, and the second factor in his side now, he was able 2 times to get kind of a spike in the Magic Phase to just one-shot Tribesman, and basically I wasn't able to push anymore without Chaff like he was. Double Fireball and Swarm was a huge threat for the War Machine, as expected. And yeah, I think a positive news about my list was the fact that, but I knew that from the list from before, even if the Death Star, the Bruiser Star get hurt, I still have 2 huge threats, and I think it was the same already with the Tuskers. Goblin Death Star was holding the line for Orc and Goblin, definitely made a really good job. Yeah, it's a solid unit with a lot of characters. It's not easy to engage with all the bonus that he put in the unit, but it's expensive at the same time. Guys, that's it. So not a lot of combat, sorry about that. Would have liked to provide more combat for you, but it was still interesting to discover a little bit about Orc and Goblins. I hope I was able to show you a little bit what they can do, or they can't in some occasion. And I hope next time we'll have more combat to, yeah, just put on a better show. Thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you soon on channel. Bye.